So I can see more participants are joining in. I'm really happy to see all of you coming in. I'll put one more time the link to the slides in our chat. That way you will be able to get access to it as well. But I know we have only 30 minutes, so if it's okay with all of you, I'm going to start. It's really a session to allow you to have your lunch, to follow and see what we can learn about specific topics. And today we have Canva for education. And it's slightly different than regular Canva. I'm going to explain that in more details as we go. But if some of you are joining us for the very first time, my name is Monica. I'm the organizational development specialist at Alpha Plus. I love technology. I have been working in the field for many, many years, exploring and teaching how to use specific technology and tools. But as the technology is progressing and improving and changing, it's sometimes hard to keep up. I think for all of us, we continuously have to learn and relearn as we go. My specialty is digital tools and coaching. So I do coaching with specific programs where I can meet with you online or even in person. We also do training and workshops. So if you're interested in some of our workshops that are coming up, I'll have more information about them at the end of the session as well. But why lunch and learn sessions? So we thought that we could have 30 minutes. I know sometimes in your programs or organizations, you could be getting together during lunch, chatting about some of the tools that you're using and exploring. So we thought this could be a good place for us to also meet with you and join you in those lunches and share some of the ideas and tools that we come across as we do the training and coaching as well. However, because those sessions are only 30 minutes in length, we may not be able to cover everything that we want to. So hopefully some of the ideas and tips we are sharing with you will be helpful. Now, before I jump into the actual tool, I also want to highlight that we are discussing Canva today, and you can get free Canva where you can use some of the tools they provide you for free. But at Alpha Plus, we use something called Canva for nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit account, you can apply for free Canva Pro package that allows you to use the Canva images that they have for pro accounts for free as part of the nonprofit account. Today, we are discussing Canva for education, and that is something that's available usually to school boards or educational institutions, not available to community programs. However, there are ways and shortcuts to get into some of the tools that the educational institutions can use as well. I also want to highlight that I'm using a Mac for our sessions, so some of the screen captures or images you see may be slightly different than what you are using. And Canva. I know some of
So
you are
I'll just
loving the
call you back.
tools,
Just give me 1 minute.
so loving some of the tools and using them almost every day. Some of you are just starting and learning about them. It's a fantastic tool that allows you to do all kinds of designs, provides a lot of templates, includes lessons, and sometimes even courses in the packages that they provide. As you're learning and exploring the tools, you will see that Canva is actually growing. And then as it's growing, some of the position of the templates or the way it's organized can start being a bit overwhelming. So I really kind of want to cover that for you as well. And then it is an online graphic design tool that you may be using for social media platforms. So maybe Instagram posts, maybe banners that you're using on your LinkedIn profile, presentations like PowerPoints. And actually, it has its own platform for that. So you can develop full PowerPoint in Canva and then download that as a PDF or even as a Word document later. Marketing materials. Many of you potentially started with some of the marketing packages, such as posters, brochures, flyers. You may be looking for images for to go with some of the lessons you're developing, maybe videos and animations to include and add to some of the resources you're teaching, and also documents. I know one of the examples will be the resumes that very often you will see some of the templates and layouts in Canva, and learners can actually adapt them to their needs. But there's also reports, proposals, and other layouts that you may like to use. So, very quick question for you. I'm going to put it in the chat. Do you use Canva right now? And I'm going to actually make it an assignment. If you're using saying yes, put number one. So yes will be number one. I'm using Canva, and number two will be no, I'm not using Canva. So if you want to just sort of tell and share with me one and twos, yes for number one, no for number two, that will give me some ideas as well. And then I can see yes and no's. That's fantastic. So mixed group for us here. I'm going to remind you that we did Canva session as part of Lunch and Learn last year. So I can share the recording when we follow up to make sure that those of you who are new to Canva and haven't really explored it in more detail can look at those sessions as well. Canva for Education will be slightly different. That's why we sort of separated the topic for you. And again, this is really not a session to teach you how to use Canva. It's to give you tips and ideas of some of the things you will find there. So I want to thank you for sharing. I can see we have a mixed group. So some of the things that some of you may already be using or seeing as you go into Canva is that you have a lot of templates to try. Now, just as an example, I put in math Instagram in my question or what I want to develop. And the system, if I click on templates, is going to give me all kinds of layouts. So if I'm a math teacher, I can actually have something about Pi Day, and I can share that with my learners to start the session, to have some kind of topic of interest, and so on. There will be all kinds of activities, worksheets, and things that you can find. However, sometimes they may not match your teaching practice, the level that you're looking for. Some graphics may be a bit more childish, and you may be looking for something else. But there's a lot of great resources in a plain regular Canva you will have access to. Now, again, as a note, I want to mention that Canva has AI built in, so you don't have to rely only on the templates they provide. You can use Canva to develop your new graphics and layouts and content with the support of AI within Canva. So that again comes as part of your regular Canva account. One thing that I also want to mention that many of you sometimes don't know is that you don't have to rely only on templates. When you go into creating a new design, you can find all kinds of templates, but you can also create custom sizes. And then when you go into those custom sizes, you can say, I want a graphic 3 by 3 or page layout and so on. And then you can apply the templates to that. So that allows you to do something specifically you're looking for. When I started with Canva, I literally built everything from scratch just to learn how some of those things work, how to lay out the images, how to bring the text, and so on. So choices are yours. But one more thing that I want to highlight is that you can upload images to Canva. So let's say you have a template or actually presentation you use very often. You could upload this presentation into your Canva account, and then Canva can help you customize it and change it as well. Now, when you upload resources, you can upload PDF documents, you can bring PowerPoint presentations, or even Word documents as well. So you're not restricted to only Canva layouts or documents. However, many of you are working with PDF documents. And I really wanted to highlight that when you upload your PDF document, Canva has tools to help you edit it. So, as an example, I wanted to show you that I had a flyer I developed a while ago, and it was a PDF format. I brought it back, uploaded it back into Canva, and as soon as I did, I now start clicking on the text, and Canva gives me boxes where I can see and read the text and I can re-edit it. So, as a very quick example, let's say you developed a flyer for an event, and now this event is going to happen in a while, but you can't find the original design. You could upload your PDF document and change some of the text using that Canva editor that allows you to edit Canva files. So again, some of the things are already in Canva. But what I really want to highlight today in this session is Canva for Education, because it is slightly different. So school boards, organizations that have educational types of accounts can apply for Canva for Education and get those for free. They don't have to pay for them. So teachers in a school board setting may look at Canva and it may look slightly different than what we see in a nonprofit account. Now, to be able to get the Canva for Education, you have to be a verified teacher. And what that basically means is that school board issues email accounts to the staff members, and then Canva checks that email account to confirm that you're applying as a school board teacher or even a learner. And then you will be able to get that Canva for Education package that the school will provide to you as teachers. So in those Canva for Education accounts, you can go beyond then designs and graphics and layout. Beyond what I mean by that is that actually you have virtual classrooms in there, which we don't usually see in our nonprofit accounts. You can assign projects to learners, for example, and then you can collaborate with students in real time. So it changes the way you may be using Canva overall. There's lots of templates in there, and those templates will be specifically for education. And I'll show you some images and examples of what I mean. There will be lesson plans, worksheets, whiteboards if you're looking for those. Also posters if you're including them in your teaching. And also some of that content can integrate with platforms like Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, and learning management systems. So Canva for Education goes beyond just the design and the layouts we may be familiar with. I'm going to take a second and then see that you're saying, I'm just checking the chat. Um, the same as a nonprofit organization. So for education is slightly different because you have to be educational institution and your email proves to them that you're that educational institution as well. Very often school boards will actually apply for Canva for Education and then tell the teachers, we set up an account, sign in with your teacher account, and you have everything available to you. So that's how organizations usually will distribute that. So if your school board, for example, is saying, hey, we are giving you Canva, that's what will mean. It will, you very likely will have Canva for Education. If you're not a teacher in an institution, but a trainer in a community organization, are you eligible? Very good question. Technically, no. That's why my session today, because I want to show you a way around it. And that way you will have access to a lot of those features, even with your community or a nonprofit account. Okay. So I'll show you what I mean by that next. Good questions. And thank you for that, because you're helping me jump into what I want to do next. So just to give you an idea of educational content first, if you go and start using some of the educational resources that the Canva for Education provides, you will see that there will be actually education button or section when you go to create a design. That's how very often school boards can separate and differentiate what I have access to. When you see that education tab, you will then see that you can create all kinds of educational resources and you have lots of templates. Everything from flashcards to posters to math activities and so on. Now, if you went to Canva right now and search for it, you may not find it at all. So this is the secret. What Canva did is they generated this template, and the template tells you what's possible in Canva for Education. But at Alpha Plus, we have nonprofit account. When we go and navigate through those shortcuts in the template, we see all those resources and can use them as well. So there's a bit of a channel you can go through, a shortcut or cheat sheet, if we can call it, to get those resources and find them quickly. You don't have to then do all that research on your own. And what's nice about this shortcut and template is that they tell you what you can find. So you have access to whiteboards, and I'll give you examples, specific documents, different kinds of schedules, newsletters, posters, certificates, if you're issuing certificates for your learners as well. You also will have access to presentations, specific video lessons on specific topic, educational whiteboards, again, on specific topic, even websites, if you want to teach a project and so on, and even daily agendas. As I'm jumping in, you can see it kind of grows into infographics, storybooks, animations, and so on. Each icon on the display is actually a shortcut to the actual section within Canva. So I'm going to share with you a link to this, and you will have access to it at the end of the session. I don't want to do it now just because I know you will potentially jump in and start using some of those. But before you do, I want to just highlight and show you that this is available to us as well. The last column is really about courses and subject areas. So you can see they actually break it down into mathematics, visual art, design. Some of you teach actually how to do designs in Canva, specific lessons that you may be looking for. So there's a lot of resources there. So this is the one thing I want you to walk away with is this specific template, and I'll post the link to it definitely in a few minutes. Now, to give you some ideas what that means. So I showed you that on the template, on the shortcut list, there was a link to whiteboards. Some of you may be using whiteboards with learners, which is basically a board you put online. Your learners come in, and then now you're working together on that whiteboard. You can do it with the class or group of learners. You can do it with one individual learner. But for example, there's a whiteboard for telling time. So if you're teaching that skill, you can find it directly through the shortcuts. You customize the template, you open it, and then you get all kinds of graphics in it. You get instructions how you can use that whiteboard and activities the learners can do right there. You don't have to build it. It's already there for you. So within the shortcuts, you have amazing templates that will be whiteboard templates. I also mentioned presentations. So presentations would be actual slides that you get. So you don't have to build it, but you can customize it. So just as an example, I looked for adverbs. I know some of you may be teaching that subject. Let's look for what's available. There's already template for that with the presentation, with specific definitions I can look at. You can open it up, you can save it as your own presentation, and you can go in and actually edit, add, remove slides. So then you can customize it to be a package for you that you can use with your learners. So whiteboards, documents. You can also do worksheets. And I'm kind of sticking with the time or math, just a bit easier for me. But you can find the worksheets as you're looking for the different layouts and templates. You find one you like. You will notice some of them will even be marked as educational. And then you can download them as PDF. You can go in and edit them. Canva provides options for printing, but I don't think you need to do that. But as soon as you click customize this template, you go in. You can change the colors. You can change the times. You can customize it to what you need and becomes a part of your package. Now, also documents. And we talked about resumes as some of the examples of documents, but there could be planning lessons, activities for your learners, checklists if you are helping learners manage their time and so on. There will be lots of templates there as well. So there is a lot that you will find in Canva, and a lot of that is from educational packages. The big one, and the one I also wanted to highlight, is the lessons. So they call them courses or lessons. You can find the lessons and just download them and use them with the learners in class, or you can use Canva's package for courses and actually enroll your students similar to Google Classroom, but within Canva environment. So they're really growing. When I was exploring that just a few months ago, they were still building, they were still adjusting. So some changes may be coming as well. But it was really nice to see that they even group some of those lessons into specific topics. So you can have lessons on science, math, and so on with preset activities and presentations for you to use. So topics that you can find, you can have future skills, and that will be writing and so on, science topics, math topics, English language arts, and so on. A lot of that is available. And again, if you're using regular Canva, you may not have noticed them, but as you start using some of those shortcuts, you will be landing on those platforms as well. So there's a question, it's available for French. I'm not really sure. I actually myself haven't switched to French. If you work with our colleague Guylaine, she may have more information. I can ask her if she explored, and I can again follow up in my follow-up email. Usually in my context, I work with the English, so I haven't checked myself. So to give you an idea, you find a lesson on the topic you want. So let's say I found called Understanding Pronoun Case, and then it comes with presentation, with worksheets, and so on. As soon as I find it within Canva, I can just open it and see the resources. Then as a teacher, I can choose, do I want to just save the slides and share with my learners, print the worksheets, or do I want to use it in more detail? So I find it, I go to click on use this lesson, and it gets me into the specific layout for courses. So if you have ever used Google Classroom, you will kind of recognize a bit of the layout. There's usually kind of like a layout or header, there's a topic, and then you can build your lessons. In here, you're bringing resources from Canva to build the lesson. So those could be presentation, there could be a worksheet, there could be specific question you may want to do, and so on. And you bring them in and you build this lesson. Again, with Canva, you can actually build all of it online and have your learners come here, join you, and work online in an online environment, or you can separate it and just kind of use the resources without using that specific section for a course. Now, if you do try to use the course, there is a section that says assign a course. What that means is to give it to your learners. And when that happens, the system will ask you, whom do you want to assign it to, and allows you to put the names of or emails of the learners, and then your course is ready. Now, here, that's when we start actually having a bit of an issue as a nonprofit versus educational account. Still, you get all those lessons and resources that you can use in a slightly different way. When you get to the assigning of a course, the system starts sort of saying, hey, what kind of emails are you putting there? Are those lessons for educational accounts? If they're not, the system may kind of break. And that's what happened to me a few times, where I basically said, I added this name, but I don't know who that is. I'm not going to send it, or, we don't recognize the email. Because if it's a regular course in Canva for Education, then there's a school board set up with the specific email accounts allowed to use the tools. In our nonprofit account, we do not officially have this course. So sometimes when you're trying to add the learners, the system starts getting confused saying, I can't put those two together. Still, you get all those templates and lessons, and you can still get inspired by them, download them, and so on. But if you want to try it, because as I was testing some of those tools, they were working better and better for me. And if you actually are in a school board setting or college setting and have access to your Canva, those things will actually work for you. Okay. So now, if you have this working, and click on a student view. So learners, when they sign in, they will have classwork. There will be a teacher or section hat where you can click on it. And when you get in, you have the lesson with all those activities assigned to you, and then you can work in it right in Canva. So it's beautiful that they have set up this Canva for Education. Many of us are nonprofit accounts and can't use them, but because of that template, you will be able to kind of explore those topics and find a lot of templates and resources as well. So I'm going to put the link for you in our chat. So you will have access to this link even now if you want to explore for a few minutes. Of course, you will have access to it after the session as well. So bear with me for a second because I will have a few more tips for you. So I added the link. You will still have access to it afterwards. What I want to tell you that Canva not only has the actual Canva for nonprofits, Canva for education, and so on. They have a lot of online videos. So when you're navigating through some sections and you may not have found them yet, I wanted to give you a few shortcuts. So Canva has a lot of online videos. When you click on it, you can really go in and start searching for teacher essentials and a lot of information there. There's also a Facebook community where you can join a group and they share a lot of resources that they developed or they're working on. Or if you get stuck, you can ask questions as well. That template that I have given you is something that I really hopefully want to ask you to take away from today. Take it, click on it and explore it. I'll jump into it as soon as I finish my slides. And this is something new. This is just for the future. Or if any of you are designers and really want to use tools from Canva. So you may have used Adobe product, but of course we know we have to pay. Canva went ahead and developed Affinity, which is that program you download to your computer that's supposed to help you with designs in a similar way Adobe will help you, but it's free. So if you have ever gone into actual kind of higher end designing, if you're looking for more specific resources, this is a new tool that they are working on, and you may want to try that as well. So a lot of resources for you. Before I wrap up, I'm going to jump into the template, but I know some of you may be leaving soon. So I want to kind of just really highlight and let you know that I hope you'll find the template helpful. I will quickly jump and show you live how it works in a few seconds. But before I do, I just want to remind you that there will be feedback at the end and we will have more Lunch and Learn sessions. So the next one coming up will be on passwords, PIN, and passkeys. I know many of you, including myself, those passkeys and pins are really confusing for me. So we will have Alan, our executive director, join us to share with you a lot of ideas and tips and help you understand the differences. We also are starting create an online learning site workshops. That's with Tracy and Guylaine. Those will be starting in April. If you have ever built a Google site before, if you're looking for ideas or alternatives, that's a way for you to build that. And then in May and June, we will have also virtual showcases. So those are coming up. Virtual showcases are different. And the way we differentiate them is that in virtual showcases, we have guests from the community. So participants like you, instructors, coordinators, coming in and sharing how they use specific tools or platforms. And in May, we'll be looking at Google Sites. So in April, we are teaching how you can build a Google site. But if you're looking for inspiration or ideas, in May, we actually will be talking to practitioners who have built Google Sites for organizational websites or a project or learner resource page so the learners can find links and resources to the materials they can practice with. So that's in May. And in June, we are looking at financial literacy. So again, we will have guests from the community who have been teaching financial literacy, and they will share what and how they teach it, what how they develop the packages and so on. So if you're looking for some of those resources, that will be in virtual showcases. So because I know many of you may be jumping off at the end, what I will do next is I'll just kind of go into that template. So give me 1 second, I'll just go back. And I'm going to take a second to see if you have more questions as well. Does the teacher have to create a class before the students can log in with their email password? Yes, it's kind of slightly separate. So you create a class or course, and then when you create that course, then you assign it to the students. And then the students, based on their email address, can join in. So that course has to be there first. But let me jump into that template and quickly show you that it's basically a document developed by Canva. And all the buttons you see are hyperlinks that you can click on. So remember when I said you can go to whiteboards? There will be all kinds of whiteboards that you can do. And I know many of you are looking for inspiration. It could be a whiteboard to start the day for your learners. How are you feeling today? You can provide different graphics and content, discussions, conversations, planning, vision boards, all kinds of different things. So if I go into any of them, let's say I'll choose a weekly planner, click on it to select it. I click on customize the template, and it actually gives me the tips, essential shortcuts, so how to use the tools on the left, specific elements you have on the right, and anyone coming in can start coming in and writing on here. You could use that with the learners to work with them on that, or they themselves can go in and create their own whiteboards. All of that is available through that template, through that specific link we have access to. If we go back and look at schedules, just any of them you have access to, again, lots of different options. Some of you may be building class schedules, some of you may be posting calendars for the learners, or even posting it on the website. You will see there will be a mix. There's also certificates. So if you're looking for that to issue to your students, that's available. You can always come in. I'm just going to jump into this one, customize the template, jumping in, and now I can change the colors. I can add my logo. I can adjust really, really anything you want. So a lot of different things you can look for. Now, as you progress, a lot of those things will go and take you to different videos and sections and so on. So, educational videos, again, if I had to find all that on my own, that would be very hard. But if I can now go and start going into, I'm looking for videos, then I can find specific topics that will be helpful. So, just being by the idea of having a shortcut to get there, I hope it will help you find the resources you're looking for, at least inspire you as well. So a lot of different videos to work with as well. Jumping back one more time, storyboards and so on. But many of you may be looking at those lessons, and I know I can see some of you are asking me specific questions. You will want to jump into more detail. So keep in mind again, I do not have educational account. I have a Canva for nonprofit, which is a free account. And then if I go just I don't know, just very first one. I know the solar system may not be the best one, difficult vocabulary, but still, I know things are happening right now with NASA, so you may want to go and have a conversation around that. So there is a layout. I can use this lesson. It's going to save it for me in the folder, so I will always find it later. And now it comes in with my layout and proposed content for me. What's a solar system poster? There is a whiteboard, there is a presentation. So even if I can't use it with learners coming in here and doing it online, I can pull those resources and teach a class just by pulling the resources from here. But if you have an option and you try and it works for you can try to assign a course. So I'm happy with this, or I want to add more. You can still customize this. I can click assign a course, and then I will be looking for people. So at Alpha Plus, we have some team members, so I can add people from the email or the group as well. Sometimes it's good to have that group first, just so you know who is coming in. And then you can, I don't know, I'll just put my email for now and see if it's going to take it. Yes, there's my email. I can assign the course. I can also do a note, similar to what you see in Google products. It's actually, the layout is very similar to that. And then you can notify them. So when they get an email, they can go and come to this course. Now, I haven't really had a chance to explore full details, but from what I have been reading and seeing, if somebody goes through this course like a student, the system will actually mark the progress. So it will show that the student opened the actual specific resource or template and so on as well. So lots of things for you to look at. Now, if you want to stay and explore with me, I will be happy to because I can see you have specific questions here. But if you have to go, I want to thank you for taking the 30 minutes and exploring with me. I'm going to really go in and give you a link to the feedback form. If you have a chance to let me know, how did this go? Was this helpful? What else you may be looking for? So I hope that it was okay with you. I know it's 30 minutes. It's usually a marathon and I speak fast, but I always try to make sure that I find and give you some tips and ideas that you will like. If you want to stay a few more minutes and have extra questions, I will be very happy to answer questions. I know, Sandra, you mentioned, does the school have to have a Canva subscription for the teacher to use Canva for education? So, Sandra, again, it depends. So some schools, from what I have seen, apply as a school and then tell you as staff members, hey, we set up the Canva for education for you. It's free. You can now use it as a teacher and your learners will have access to it as well. Others just start with the teachers and slowly kind of go in. Others don't want to use it at all. We as nonprofit organizations are not part of a school board, so we don't have that option at all. But that template that I shared with you will work for almost anyone using Canva. So I really hope that at least will give you some ideas as well. And then you can go in and see and test what you have access to. So let me know if that's helpful. And then if there's anything else, I will be very happy to show you what I have access to just directly from our nonprofit account.